Yes, sir. What's up, boys? We are back with another video. Today, we're going to be talking about James Harden from the Rockets being traded and some trade ideas that could work for the Rockets to build in the future. So make sure you guys like the video, subscribe to the channel. New NBA videos every week. We finally hit 500 subscribers, so we're just going to keep growing this thing. Anyways, let's get into it. So with news that just came out recently, the Rockets have realized that they're not going to be able to keep James Harden. So the Rockets came to this realization over the past week as you guys know, James Harden has expressed that he wants to be traded from the Rockets, preferably to the Nets. But in general, he just wants to move on from the Rockets. His time with the Rockets is done. He's played there for about 7 years now. He's accomplished some great things, broken records, taking them far into the playoffs, to the conference finals. He's had his peaks, he's had his valleys, but now his time with the Rockets is coming to an end. So the news that just came out, as I said, the Rockets have realized that they're not going to be able to salvage the relationship with James Harden, and they're going to have to make a trade. So the thing that changed with the Rockets' point of view is before they thought, okay, maybe over time we can get James to kind of calm down, change his mind, we can put some pieces around him, and maybe he'll decide, okay, I can stay, this is a team I can win with. But unfortunately, James Harden has made it very clear to them that he doesn't want to stay in Houston. He's ready to make a move. What he wants to do is go play with his friend Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving and just try something new with Brooklyn. So as some of you guys may know, James Harden was working out with Kyrie and Kevin Durant during the summer. They were working out together, and then that's when the idea for James Harden to go play with Brooklyn was born. So he was talking with Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant's pretty much like, yo, bro, come play with me in Brooklyn, bro. Fuck Houston. And then pretty much James Harden was like, yo, that's a good idea. I'm about it. And what no one's really talking about is how, once again, Kevin Durant is snaking Russell Westbrook. No one's really talking about that, because if these conversations are true and James Harden and Kevin Durant were working out together, making a plan to go play together, and that James Harden was going to request a trade, how is Russ supposed to feel knowing that once again Kevin Durant is responsible for him being left alone by himself? So then when Russ finds out that James Harden is going to tell the team that he wants to request a trade, he's like, fuck that. I'm going to request a trade first. I'm not going to look dumb. Just because Kevin Durant made me look dumb last time, I'm not going to let him make me look dumb again. So he requested a trade publicly first, just to get in front of the media storm and make it so it didn't look like two star players wanted to leave this guy again. It's bad enough Paul George wanted to leave him. It makes it look like everyone wants to leave Russ. So Russ wanted to change the narrative, and he wanted to show people that it's not people wanting to leave me. I'm deciding I want to leave. So anyways, the Rockets, they're like, okay, we come to the realization that this guy wants to leave. There's nothing we can do to make him want to stay. So what we're going to get into is some possible trades that can work for the Rockets in terms of trading James Harden. The Rockets said what they're looking for in terms of a package for James Harden is a young franchise cornerstone. So a guy that can potentially be a star or someone they could build around in the future. So a young franchise cornerstone, probably ideally 25 or younger, because the Rockets even said they're not really sure if they would consider Karis LeVert young. They said they're not sure if they would consider him a franchise player, and they're not sure if they would consider him young. So I think the Rockets are looking for a player that's at least 25 or under. So I came up with 4 trades that could work for the Rockets. Rockets fans, I want your opinion in the comments on these trades. If you guys have any other trades that could work for the Rockets, let's talk about it, because the Rockets are going to be entering a rebuild. They're going to be trading Russ. They traded Rocco. They're going to be trading Eric Gordon. They're going to be trading PJ. So they're just in a rebuild right now. They signed some good players in the draft, so things are looking up in that end. So yeah, we're going to get into the first trade, which is going to be Denver. So we're going to cover 4 trades. It's going to be a Denver trade, a Miami trade, a Brooklyn trade, and a Philadelphia trade. So the first trade is Denver. So for Denver, they would send Michael Porter Jr. as the young franchise star. They would send Gary Harris, Will Barton, and a package of picks. So for each of these trades, the package of picks is going to be similar to the package of picks that the Bucks got for Drew Holiday, and that the Pelicans got for Drew Holiday, and that the Pelicans got for Anthony Davis. So Probably like around 4 first-round picks, I'm thinking. Between 3 and 4 first-round picks, maybe some pick swaps. Just know it's going to be a lot of picks. So Michael Porter Jr., Gary Harris, Will Barton, and a bunch of picks in exchange for James Harden. In this deal, why I think it works well for the Rockets is because Michael Porter Jr., even though he's coming off an injury, he has the potential to be a great player in this league. If he has a team, just give him the keys and let him go. His defense is lacking, but that can improve for sure. That can improve as he gets accustomed to this league, gets used to it. His offense is incredible, though. You see the flashes. He reminds you of a Kevin Durant or a Brandon Ingram just in his length, his ability to put the ball on the floor, and his scoring ability. So you got to like Michael Porter Jr. That's the young star that the Rockets would be getting in this deal. They also get Gary Harris and Will Barton, two great role players that could play right away for the Rockets' new rebuild. Doesn't mean they have to be future long-term pieces. No, not at all. But they can work with these guys in the meantime as they figure out what direction they want to head and build around Michael Porter Jr., as well as whoever they get in return for Russell Westbrook. So that's my Denver trade idea. I think it works for the Rockets. In terms of Denver and how it fits for them, we're not going to focus too much on how it fits for Denver. At the end of the day, with all these trades, I'm not going to cover how it helps the other team because the other team is getting James Harden. I think that speaks for itself. So that's the first trade idea. The second trade idea we're about to get into is for Miami. So in this trade, the Miami Heat would be receiving James Harden in exchange for Tyler Hero as the young franchise cornerstone. Duncan Robinson, another young franchise cornerstone. He's only 26 and he's one of the best shooters in the league. We're going to also throw in Andre Iguodala for salary filler and Kelly Olynyk. So the Kelly Olynyk and Iguodala, that's just to make the salaries match because James Harden is making $38 million going into the next season. So you need to add salary. Duncan Robinson and Tyler Hero don't make much money combined. They might make $8 million or less. So you needed to add some salary just to match with James Harden. So you throw Olynyk in there. You throw Iguodala in there. Iguodala could just be someone that you trade to a contender towards the trade deadline. And Kelly Olynyk is someone that you can trade to another team that's interested in Kelly Olynyk. Kelly Olynyk is a stretch 4 and 5. And all the teams in the NBA are looking for these guys right now, these stretch 4-5s. So you could either keep these players or flip them to contenders or other teams for picks and young assets. So I think it works in that sense. And you get Duncan Robinson, who's one of the best shooters in the league. And you get Tyler fucking Hero. Tyler Hero's balling in the bubble. I know you guys seen him with the mean bug when he was balling on the Lakers. So Tyler Hero, I'm a fan of him. I think he has the potential to be a great player. I feel like he could be a player from the school of Devin Booker and Bradley Beal. Maybe not at their level, but in terms of the skill set of a shooting guard who can create shots off the dribble, come off flares and hit shots, catch and shoot, drive hard to the rim. I think Tyler Hero can be that type of guy. So I think this is a good trade for the Rockets because they get those two young stars. Not stars, but those two young franchise pieces in Robinson and Hero. And they also get some trade assets in Iguodala and Olynyk. So Rockets fans, let me know what you think about these trades so far. Let me know in the comments down below. And once again, if you guys have your own trade ideas, put them down in the comments. Let's talk about it. I by no means think my ideas are the best ideas available. These are just ideas that work financially, and I think that could work for the Rockets. So third trade we're going to get into is the Brooklyn Nets. So the Brooklyn Nets, this trade has been rumored already as being offered to the Rockets. The Rockets are not completely sold on it. It's not a no-brainer trade for them, but the package would include Karis LeVert as a young franchise piece, Spencer Dinwiddie as a older franchise piece, but still a franchise piece, Jarrett Allen as a young franchise piece, one of the best young defenders and rim protectors in the league, and Taurean Prince, who could just be, he's a 3-and-D wing. He's not that old. He's only about 24, 25, 26. He doesn't make too much money, but he could be another role player that could play with the Rockets in their rebuild, or they could flip him for future assets if they choose to. All these players they could flip for future assets, but I think that Karis LeVert, Spencer Dinwiddie, and Jarrett Allen are great franchise pieces to build around for your rebuild. I think that trio right there is a good starting point. Even if you were to pair them with Russ, Like, if they didn't trade Russ and they were to pair those guys with Russ, you still have a team that has a chance to contend for the playoffs. But I think the best thing to do would be to get those guys, trade Russ for some more guys, and just start your rebuild fresh. Get some pieces from the draft next year. The draft next year is much stronger than the draft we had this year. Guys like Cade Cunningham, Jalen Green, for example. There's some good names in the draft that the Rockets could target if they have some of these assets. So I think it's a good trade for the Rockets. They get 3 good young guys, a 4th young guy that's not bad at all, in Taurean Prince, 3-and-D guy. So I think this works well for the Rockets. So let me know what you guys think about that trade in the comments. We're going to get into the 4th and final trade, which is the Philadelphia 76ers. You guys already know what I'm going to say. Philadelphia 76ers received James Harden in exchange for Ben fucking Simmons. Ben Simmons, Matisse Thybulle, and to make the salaries work, we're going to have to throw in some salary fillers. So we're going to add Tobias Harris. And, of course, the picks. Of course, the picks. Even in the Brooklyn deal, there's going to be picks as well. Every deal has picks in it. So we're going to throw Ben Simmons, Tobias Harris, and Matisse Thybulle for picks. What the Rockets get here is a young franchise star. Proven star in Ben Simmons. One of the best defensive guys in the league. He can guard the 1 through the 4. He's incredible at getting into passing lanes and just running the ball on the fast break. Can set people up as a playmaker. His offensive ability needs development, but the potential is sky high for this guy. How could you not be a Ben Simmons fan? This guy, the potential is through the roof for him. Him and Michael Porter Jr., I feel out of all the trades I've listed, those guys have the most potential out of all the guys that I've listed. So you get Ben Simmons. You also get Matisse Thybulle, one of the best young defensive prospects in the league. He showed a lot of great effort on the defensive end. His offense definitely needs to be developed and come along. But once the defense is there, put him with the right shooting coaches, he could figure that shot out. And it's not like he's completely horrible from 3. It's just he needs more improvement to become a true 3-and-D guy. Then you got Tobias Harris. Tobias Harris' contract is absolutely insane. This guy's making way too much money. But the fact of the matter is, if he was on a better contract, a more budget-friendly contract, he is a good player. And with the Rockets trading Russell Westbrook and James Harden, they're going to have a lot of salary cap space. They can afford to absorb a guy like Tobias Harris in exchange for Ben Simmons, a young star, and also draft picks going into the future. And if they decide that they want to get off Tobias Harris and sign another player, they can always do like an Al Horford type deal. Throw in some draft picks into the deal to get off this guy. So I think that Tobias Harris could raise his trade value by playing in the Rockets with Ben Simmons. A Ben Simmons run team would be much more fast-paced on offense and get Tobias Harris some more open threes and shit like that. Allow him to run in transition and play his game like that. Because on the half-court offense, Tobias Harris can be a little bit stagnant, and it is easy for other teams to lock him up. So, Rockets fans, what do you guys think about my trade ideas? I just gave you guys 4 trade ideas that they can do to move on from James Harden, who has decided that he doesn't want to play with the Rockets, and the Rockets have given up on trying to keep him. Let me know how you guys feel in the comments. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell. We got new NBA videos every week. Like, what more could you guys want? New videos every week? Like, come on, bro. Like the video. We out of here. Peace.